City officials addressing multiple fires in the capital city. What you need to know coming up.
And a store evacuated, plus people picking up the hose themselves to fight these fires. We'll have more coming up.
It's been windy and dry today, which hasn't helped with those fire conditions, and we're in for much colder air coming for the official start of spring tomorrow. That forecast is ahead.
Now, live from your breaking news leader, winner of the Regional Emmy Award for Best Evening Newscast, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
Wildfires sweeping across Arkansas, being fueled by high winds, some gusts reaching more than 50 miles per hour.
Firefighters battled flames that threatened homes, businesses, and the lives of those in our very own community.
Now, under the cover of night, emergency crews are fighting the winds and flames,
hoping to prevent another blaze from sparking and keep Arkansans safe.
A wild and dangerous day throughout central Arkansas as more than 50 wildfires burned across the state. Good evening. So glad you're with us tonight. For Fox 16 News at 9, I'm Donna Terrell.
I'm Kevin Kelly. Those fires causing damage to some homes and businesses, and in some areas forcing traffic to come to a grinding halt. At least 8 of those wildfires taking place in central Arkansas, and here's a map to give you at home a better idea of where some of them flared up. As you can see, they pretty much surround the capital city, some taking place near major interstates that pass through Little Rock, others off popular and heavily traveled streets.
And we do have team coverage for you tonight. Our Neil Zarang is standing by on Bowman Road with the latest on a large fire that threatened homes and a Walmart store. And Chief Meteorologist Carmen Rose will soon tell us just how long these strong winds will stick around.
But first, our Madison Gaffner has an update from the Little Rock Fire Department and other city officials on just how many wildfires swept through the capital city today and what's happening now. Madison.
Well, Donna and Kevin, the most important thing that they shared tonight was that there was no loss of life or any injuries reported. The press conference took place at the Little Rock Fire Department Station 17 this evening. The Mayor, Little Rock Fire Chief, Little Rock Chief of Police, and the Office of Emergency Management all gathering, each of them speaking about the collaboration of the department as they helped with 14 calls. The first call coming in at 1:18 this afternoon. Of those, we were told 10 were structures and 4 were businesses. As the fire departments worked to distinguish the fires, police helped block roads and release schools in the affected areas safely.
We do have an active burn ban, so please do not utilize any type of materials that would cause a fire for it to extend upon where it is.
All the fires are still under investigation, each official urging people to take precautions due to the high winds and dry conditions creating prime time for fires to spread. They especially urge people not to grill or throw out cigarettes. It is believed that 3 fires were started from the winds, causing tree limbs to fall on power lines and sparking a flame, but only time will tell with these investigations. Now, officials shared that they will remain ready to go out with their fire engines and with water loaded on the trucks when needed. Donna and Kevin.
Hey, Madison, you were out while this fire was going on this afternoon, and the flames actually did threaten Goodwill Industry headquarters.
Yeah, well, tell us, kind of walk us through what you saw when you were there on scene, and how close did the flames near the Goodwill get to the actual building?
Well, Donna and Kevin, not only were the flames surrounding Goodwill, but some of those embers actually made it to the roof of Goodwill headquarters. The fire beginning on Baseline Road. A short time later, Sharon Bowershear, the Senior Vice President of Development of Goodwill Industries of Arkansas, says she noticed the smoke. The fire alarms then went off and everyone went to a safe area to wait. But before the fire crews could make their way, CEO Brian Marsh began taking action.
We got our fire hose out and started working the edge of the fire to try and keep it from moving over.
Eventually, with all the first responders working together, the fire was believed to be safe for workers to go back inside to get their belongings. That's when an ember jumped to the roof of Goodwill's headquarters. Everyone making it back out safely and sent on their way home. In the meantime, the administration stuck around to keep a close eye. The damage to the roof was minimal. Now, they shared that the damage should not keep them from operating tomorrow. Reporting live here in Little Rock, I'm Madison Gaffner, Fox 16 News.
Madison, that is good news. Thank you. Dry conditions and howling winds combined with flames and flying embers, not a good combination. Today, a clear example of what can happen. And the threats of more wildfires is on the horizon, especially when you consider the conditions. Chief Meteorologist Carmen Rose joining us now with more on when these winds are going to calm down and why we still need to be on guard.
Well, they are going to lessen tonight. In fact, the later in the night we go, the more that they'll lessen. The thing is, though, it's still going to be breezy out there. Now, our wind speed currently is now shifting to the northwest. It's at 26 miles per hour. So it's still windy here as of 9:05, about to be 9:06 this evening. Wind gusts, well, we're at 41 miles per hour. So we're still dealing with very windy conditions. That is what's going to be a problem here. Relative humidity starts to increase at night. We're starting to notice that. It's already into the 40% out here, so that's a lot better than what we saw in the teens earlier today. So we had just the perfect conditions for spreading wildfire, not good, and we certainly saw that today. Our wildfire danger has been elevated to extreme across much of the state because of the dry conditions, and we are over an inch below an average rainfall for month-to-date values. Burn bans, more and more continue to be issued here. This includes the majority of the state of Arkansas. Right now, we don't have any rain in the forecast, but we do have a little bit of snow over northwest Arkansas. We'll get into that in a few minutes. Kevin?
Doesn't sound right, Carmen, but you'll bring us up to speed. Thanks. Little Rock firefighters also tackling a wildfire that came to life near the Rebsamen Tennis Center. This is what the scene looked like at around 5 this evening. According to a post on social media, the flames started in the wooded area, which is right next to the tennis center. And then those flames quickly spread. The winds pushing them closer and closer to the tennis courts, as you can see right there. Good news in this case, only the netting along the fence of 2 courts were damaged, but no word yet on what caused this fire.
And now to Interstate 530 in Jefferson County, where earlier this afternoon a grass fire stopped traffic completely, blowing heavy smoke over both lanes and closing down a portion of that highway. The fire started on the side of the southbound lane, and the wind carried heavy smoke and some flames across both lanes toward a church parking lot. It caused a major headache in both the directions for people driving on that portion of the road. This is actually what they were seeing. So they had to detour the traffic until firefighters could get things under control. It actually went on for a few hours, but the road was back open sometime around 6 o'clock.
Wow. Well, thousands witnessed a fire behind the Walmart on South Bowman earlier today. Those inside the store were actually forced to evacuate as the city worked to protect the businesses and some homes.
Neil Zarang reports live from where that fire began. And Neil, we're just curious, are crews still there or have they gone home for the night?
Well, there is a police officer nearby just watching, but firefighters left around sunset. The police officers also participated in some of the firefighting, but also the people living here picking up their own hoses to pitch in. The smoke and flames quite a sight from the road, but quite a fear for those feet away.
I was shocked to see how close it was to my house.
Megan Hughes' backyard was 8 feet away from the blaze that consumed a dividing fence between the Walmart retaining wall and dozens of homes.
Probably 15-foot flames, and the fire department was trying to get there.
I was thinking, what do we need to grab? Do we need to evacuate? Like, at what point is it going to be so big that we need to just start grabbing stuff and get out of here?
The Walmart evacuated employees and remained closed throughout the night as crews extinguished fires up against the building.
Thank you so much, because, I mean, a few more feet, and that would have been our fence, and it could have got our neighborhood.
Once the fire was contained, wind remained a concern throughout the evening.
It'll calm down and be almost nothing, and then there's a gust that'll will last for a minute, 2 minutes, and it really picks up these hot spots and it flares them up again.
The burn ban started earlier in the day, also now at the top of their minds.
Very, very scary. Don't burn anything. Burn ban until further notice.
You actually wouldn't see the Walmart that you can see behind me earlier today because there was quite a large privacy fence, but around 300 yards or so, it is now burnt. All you can see left are these fence posts in some of the areas. Some areas, these are even completely gone. Reporting live in Little Rock, Neil Zarang will send it back to you.
Neil, before you go real quick, we saw an officer being pulled out by firefighters. What happened to that officer? Do you know?
Yes, I asked them, and that officer actually rolled his ankle because it's pretty rocks around here, lots of pothole type areas where you step in. Even I had to watch out a little bit. And Kevin, even just walking back here to this shot, this wind is still kicking up quite a bit. There was just one little ember, not really much of anything, but still something to think about as we go in over the night.
It's a good thing that officer is there, and hopefully people will stay vigilant. All right, thank you. And of course, we are staying vigilant. We will stay on top of these wildfires, and we will have the very latest for you first thing in the morning on Good Day Arkansas, starting at 7 a.m. and on our website. Just head on over to fox16.com.
While much of the country is facing wildfires, the Midwest has a much different story unfolding in terms of weather.
Coming up a little later in our newscast, new video tonight showing the blizzard conditions and how it's affecting thousands of people.
Plus, we'll head live to Providence to find out how the Razorbacks spent their day preparing for you-know-what, the NCAA tournament. Fox 16 Sports is 40 minutes away. Across the nation, weather continues to be a big story. Many states are still working to recover from storms that caused tornadoes, including communities right here at home. In Cave City, a funeral home that played a crucial role for many families was destroyed after an EF3 tornado touched down on Friday. We're told despite losing the roof and suffering severe damage inside the building, no caskets or files were lost, but some of the caskets were damaged. Several people we spoke with said this funeral home means a lot to them, and it brings back several memories.
It was very emotional. We lost a girl that was buried there. My mother. We've had a lot that was buried there.
It's just a staple in the community.
The good news is they have a second funeral home in Batesville and are now in the process of moving everything to that location.
Well, people in Hot Spring County are dealing with the damage from an EF2 tornado that hit there on Friday. In fact, one woman from Malvern says the tornado actually flattened her barn and injured her horses in the process. Our Catherine Thornberry tells us about the damage and how the horses are doing tonight.
Twisted metal remains in the trees. One reminder of Friday night when Anna Dietrich and her boyfriend hid in the closet of their home with couch cushions over their heads, praying for their lives.
It was pouring like super, super hard. And then all of a sudden it just felt like we heard the train and we felt like our house was going to blow away, just noise.
And then silence.
And the first thought when it was over was if my horses were okay.
Dietrich looked for the barn where her 4 horses stayed, but had been blown away by an EF2 tornado. She says that's when she found them in the trees.
There was 2 that suffered some pretty bad injuries. One severed a tendon and the other's chest was laid open, but overall they're going to be okay.
Dietrich says she's thankful that they're able to recover, but the damage to her barn and the rest of her home.
Until I come here, usually just overwhelmed because, you know, we worked so hard to build this place up.
Now, each gust of wind serves as another reminder of the nightmare she's thankful to have lived through.
The high winds are here again, obviously, so with all the sounds and the sticks, I just wake up and I feel like I'm in it, and then I wake up and it's over.
And that was our Catherine Thornberry reporting. We're told the horses at the vet out of state have recovered enough to come back home, but with the barn blown away, Dietrich says she's not sure where to put them.
New information surfacing after 4 West Memphis police officers are accused of sexual misconduct.
What one of the officers is now being accused of that happened several years ago when we come back, plus this story.
A federal judge is pressing the White House for answers over its deportation flights. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. I'll have the details coming up.
Now for a look at some of our other stories making headlines, we're learning new details this evening on the investigation into 4 West Memphis police officers accused of sexual misconduct.
And it's not the first time for one of them that's been accused. Major Stacy Allen, Captains Mose Walker and Evora Hall, and Officer Treasure Gaither are facing allegations of sexual misconduct and intimidation. But back in 2021, several women accused Allen of harassment, discrimination, and retaliation dating back to 2017. Some in the community are saying they are very concerned.
If you're a leader, you shouldn't be out there committing crime and trying to hold position in the city of West Memphis. That's how I feel. I strongly feel that you should not be on anything, any board or anything.
We've reached out to the West Memphis Police Department for a comment, but as of our newscast, we have not heard back. The North Little Rock Fire Department battled a fire this afternoon. Take a look at this. This happened at the St. Joseph Center. We're told it started in the attic and quickly spread. It should be noted that this blaze is not related to a brush or grass fire. Maumelle Fire Department also helped in fighting the fire. That cause, of course, is still under investigation.
The governor's Communist China defense legislative package now on its way through the legislature. It passed in the House this week. The package would prevent higher education institutes from conducting agricultural research with China. It would deny state funding for schools with a Confucius Institute, which promotes Chinese language and culture. And it would require state entities to divest from China. And today, another bill preventing foreign ownership of land around critical infrastructure like military bases and electric substations passed a House committee.
Foreign ownership could lead to the transfer of valuable agriculture technology and intellectual property to other countries, potentially undermining the competitiveness of U.S. agriculture.
Well, this week, the House also passed a bill preventing state agencies from using public funds to purchase promotional items made in China. Part of the package we haven't seen discussed yet is a bill aiming to prevent lobbying on behalf of foreign entities.
Well, it has been an incredibly windy Wednesday out there. We've seen gusts over 50 miles per hour here in Little Rock, closer to 60 miles per hour in Conway, and surpassing that in Jonesboro. That, coupled with the low humidity, of course, the dry air in place, well, that led to that elevated wildfire risk. And burn bans, well, they are in effect until further notice across the majority of the state. That includes us here in Pulaski County. Wind speed currently now shifting to the northwest behind that cold front, 26 miles per hour. We have gusts closer to 40 miles per hour. Relative humidity is starting to increase tonight. We like to see that. Our dew points, though, very low in the 20s behind that cold front. And in addition to that cold and dry air, we're still dealing with those windy conditions, closer to 40 degrees tonight. So you will need that coat for the start of spring. Kevin.
All right, Carmen, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stories making national headlines. This is what it looked like in parts of the Midwest tonight. It's hard to make out, but video catches dangerous whiteout conditions. In Kansas, the Department of Transportation closed parts of Interstate 70 because of the snow and strong winds. And in Nebraska, thousands are without power amid warnings of up to 8 inches of snow and wind gusts as high as 70 miles per hour. All right, a much different story is unfolding in the Lone Star State tonight as thousands are out of power in Hutchinson County. This is due to a wildfire there. This is in the border city of Borger, which is about an hour northeast of Amarillo. Power and internet are out throughout most of the city, including traffic lights. The Doubles Fire, as it's being called, has burned through about 500 acres, threatening 1,200 homes. At last check, the Texas Forest Service says this fire is 5% contained and about 350 acres in size. But that's not all, because now I'm going to take you to Florida. Another story unfolding there, where crews are still fighting a wildfire that shut down access to the Florida Keys. This started yesterday afternoon and quickly spread, burning through more than 3,600 acres. Officials say there have been few injuries and so far no threats to nearby structures. That's some good news. Crews with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and the Florida Forest Service are working to try and contain that fire.
In tonight's State of the Nation, President Trump briefs Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky today on what the Kremlin is demanding in exchange for an end to the war. Now, we're told the list of demands Russian President Vladimir Putin is making is quite long, implying all foreign military aid to Ukraine must stop, but the White House says that it was not discussed. Zelensky, meanwhile, says he's in favor of an unconditional ceasefire.
Our negotiators are going from one side to the other, and we are driving both sides closer and closer.
And this comes during a moment of celebration in what has otherwise been a devastating 3 long years of war. In one of the largest prisoner exchanges of the conflict, Russia and Ukraine each returned 175 soldiers to their home countries today. Russia also releasing 22 seriously wounded Ukrainian soldiers in what the Kremlin is calling an act of goodwill. Tesla set on fire in Las Vegas, Kansas City, and Seattle. A dealership shot in Portland and cars graffitied in San Diego County. Those are just a few of the recent violent attacks as the company's CEO, Elon Musk, draws anger over his work with the Trump administration. Now, the Justice Department is investigating the violent vandalism as domestic terrorism. Attorney General Pam Bondi writing in a statement, "The swarm of violent attacks on Tesla property is nothing short of domestic terrorism." The Department of Justice has already charged several perpetrators with that in mind. A showdown continues between the Trump administration and a federal judge over migrant deportation flights.
And as our Connor Hansen tells us, it comes after the White House ignored a court order to turn around a plane headed to El Salvador.
Dramatic video shows alleged Venezuelan gang members arriving at a prison in El Salvador after the Trump administration deported them by plane. Now, a federal judge is demanding answers after the administration ignored his order to stop or turn the planes around on Saturday. The White House says the flight in question had already left U.S. airspace. At issue is whether the federal government can use the Alien Enemies Act, typically used during wartime, to deport people.
The judge in this case is essentially trying to say that the president doesn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our American soil. That is an egregious abuse of the bench.
U.S. District Judge James Boasberg wants a timeline for exactly when the plane left the U.S. and when the deportees were transferred. So far, the Justice Department has been reluctant to cooperate, calling certain details state secrets.
This judge has no right to ask those questions. We are going to deport them, and we're going to continue to deport them.
While the White House says it won't be sending any more of the flights for now, the war of words continues. President Trump has even called for Judge Boasberg to be impeached. The judge has given the Trump administration until Thursday at noon to respond to his questions. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox 16 News. Kevin and Donna, back to you.
Connor, thank you very much. Well, today the Federal Reserve held its quarterly meeting, and as predicted, the Federal Reserve Chairman announced no changes to interest rates. It's a result of what some economists are dubbing stagflation. Experts say the economy is stagnating, but inflation remains high. And a recent Michigan University survey found anxiety among American consumers is up. Meanwhile, the latest jobs report shows the U.S. economy remains solid. In February, U.S. employers added 141,000 jobs to the economy. Well, there's a new plan that could change what you feed your baby.
In tonight's Political Minute, the host of The Hill on News Nation outlines a new initiative put into motion by the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Is there a new blueprint for baby formula? I'm Blake Berman, host of The Hill on News Nation. The Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announcing a new plan called Operation Stork Speed. It's aimed at reviewing ingredients in current baby formulas and expanding options. This after he met with top formula manufacturers on Tuesday. Now, under the plan, the FDA will review the nutrients found in baby formula, ramp up testing for heavy metals and other potential contaminants, and encourage companies to increase transparency and clearer labeling. No timetable was given for potential next steps. Now, depending on what type of brand is used, it's estimated that baby formula right now can cost parents anywhere from $1,500 to north of $6,000 a year. I'm Blake Berman, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
That is a lot of money. You can find more news and analysis on News Nation. To find it on your phone or computer, just go to joinnn.com.
After several scary aviation incidents and a devastating deadly crash, the Federal Aviation Administration announcing plans to overhaul how it does business. Plans include enhanced safety devices being installed at more than 70 airports to detect when a runway is occupied. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says changes will also be made in the coming months to speed up the lines of communication and provide new radar systems for terminals and air traffic controllers.
It's been a very long day. Thanks for joining us.
Stay safe and come back tomorrow. We'll see you then.